So you've seen pictures and photos of the Suburban, but I've never explained the history or what makes this a fully loaded Suburban. So let's get into it. So my dad picked this up from the original owner sometime, I think, before I was born, and we had it ever since. It was parked outside all the time, except for when we would pull it into the garage to work on it. It was rarely driven between my dad and the original owner, just parked outside. I think we used it for special occasions, if I remember correctly. Other than that, he would just uh, let it sit or just like throw like a stereo system into it and call it good. Well, he passed away 2 weeks before Christmas one year, and we eventually moved, and at the time we couldn't bring this thing up, so one of my dad's friends kept it stored on his property until I was able to inherit it and pick it up 14 years later. When I picked this up, we brought it back and immediately started trying to revive it. I threw in new spark plugs, Marvel Mystery Oil, cap rotor, fuel filter, fuel tank, fuel, just whatever it needed to be ran. And I got it to run. I drove it a total of 5 times, and every time I drove it, something broke on it. The first thing was the fuel pump relay. Second thing was alternator and battery separator, because this does have dual batteries from factory. Next was water pump and thermostat. Another thing was the starter, and then eventually the original motor did end up locking up. So that's why it is currently in the process of being Frankensteined back together with another 351 motor. Don't know where this one came out of. All I know is that the alternator is supposed to be here, but my new alternator does not fit, so we're makeshifting that. Plus, if I have to put it over here, I gotta run more wires for the alternator itself, and I really don't want to do that. I did end up taking these off, and the headliner was drooping off. These were in okay shape. I just don't like the look of them on there. I think it's weird having carpet down there. But other than that, door pouches are good. The actual door panels themselves are pretty decent. The dash mat has been on it the entire time, and it's only got 3 cracks within the dash that I could just seal up. It is a GMC, not a Chevy, and from what I've read and been told, Chevy was for the common people, whereas GMC was advertised for the more high-class people who still wanted a GM product. But we both know they're the same. I mean, same looks and everything. So let's talk about why this Sierra Classic was one of the fully loaded at its time. So first off, we got these nice chrome rallies, which needs to be buffed, but they are original. And I do have the full set. Chrome bumpers. Did have chrome mirrors, but I decided to take them off in favor of some tow mirrors. People are gonna be jealous, but the sun visor, straight from factory. Spoiler, also from factory, as far as I know. Does have the barn doors, which makes it better than the tailgate version. A hood ornament, which I took off in favor of a Cadillac hood ornament off of my '03 DeVille. I thought it was more fitting considering these are called Cowboy Cadillacs. A skid plate for the fuel tank. Did have a roof rack and the old man steps, which I took off because it looks better without them. And I don't even have a reason to have a roof rack yet. So now let's get into the interior. Other than saying Sierra Classic on the dash, what else can you expect? Well, AC and heat. This rack from factory with a factory console. These mirrors was not factory, but I do recommend them. It is very good to have in here, especially with the barn doors being split. Factory 4x4, which I looked up, and only you could get factory 4x4 with 2 engine models, the 5.7 350, or I believe it was the 6.2 Detroit diesel. Lovely chrome just all around. I do need to replace that. A third row seat with rear AC. I could show you all the ashtrays. None of them have been smoked in. As far as the front seat, I'm not sure if this is original or not. It's definitely low mild. I mean, barely any tears, very well conditioned. But the thing that makes me think that it's not original is these chrome squares on both the passenger and driver's side. And I asked people if this was from factory or not, and I got 2 different answers. One of which being that this was taken out of a Cheyenne special, and another one was it was a factory option for these GMCs, but not very people got them because I guess they burnt your back or something. I don't know. They did say, if I want to know, it might say in the glove box, but right now my glove box is iffy. If I open it, it's difficult to keep it shut. Does only have the factory floor mats for the driver and passenger. I don't know what happened to the back one, but I'm not selling this anyway, so it doesn't matter. Does have a low mileage factory brake pedal and driver pedal. According to the dash, it's only been driven 53,000 miles, give or take. If that is true, that's awesome. I did forget to mention, it does have dual shocks straight from factory in the front, which is very nice for rides. And yeah, that's the story on this piece of junk that is currently taking up my friend's garage. I hope you like this video. Like and have fun.